All right, so we are recording, and we just want to say thank you to Andrew, who is in our very last cleanse that we just finished, for doing this video with us. This is new. Patrick and I are starting to do video testimonials just so people can get a feel for what participants' experience is from them, not just from us.
Exactly.
So, Andrew, go ahead and you can give us a brief introduction of who you are if you'd like. And maybe also add to that just how you were feeling and your health challenges leading up to the cleanse, like what made you decide to do it.
So I knew Pat prior to the cleanse. I work with him. We bartend through Wedding Group together. He had actually asked me to do the cleanse probably, I don't know, like 6 months ago or even before that. And I kind of just said, yeah, okay, never really followed through with it. And then this last time came about and I actually followed through with it. And surprisingly to myself, I was able to do it and last the whole time. I say that only because, I'm the type of person that eats full, carbs, sugars, dessert, everything like that. And it's an everyday thing. And it goes from that to being able to completely cut and go clean. And lasting the full 2 weeks with no type of cheating whatsoever. But I guess something was on my side to help me with it. Was I suffer from chronic pain, so I had a little bit more of a motivator. And that being the motivation, trying to do anything that would help me lower the pain is worth trying. So to eat clean is probably the least invasive and for me, one of the easier things to do compared to what I've dealt with in the medical industry. So it was definitely a challenge. I don't want to say it was easy, but it was definitely worthwhile. And I, didn't add any type of gym or, activity or working out or anything like that while I was doing it. And I had amazing results.
Awesome. That's great. So Andrew, I'm curious, like I know obviously, it's not easy to make new changes, in our health and our lifestyle and everything. One thing we're curious, so, for our viewers watching the video is in your opinion, how was it to follow the actual program and adhere to it as far as like the ease of what we offered as the program?
So the program itself, honestly, it's a pretty easy thing to follow. And I would honestly say it's probably a lot easier for 99% of people than it was for me, only because I'm allergic to pretty much everything under the sun. So all types of, skins of fruits to anything that lives in the water, pine nuts, tree nuts, peanuts. So it really limits me in what I can and can't eat. So it makes the program a little bit harder. So then I guess somebody else, mixing fish in there, nuts, peanuts, mixing things with salads, doing things along that nature that I really can't do. But overall, honestly, I had the four, staples like doing the turkey, chicken, things like that. Sweet potatoes was like my staple for most of it. And I would say that part is pretty easy. I guess the hard part is the temptations that you experience during the time.
Yeah. Awesome. Excellent. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Do you mind touching more on the transformation that you noticed and what results you saw from doing it for 2 weeks, and you even extended it another week because you were feeling so good?
Yeah, I mean, so in the beginning of this, I had I was almost like, I don't know how you want to say it, but like a tube, body shape of a tube, no type of like definition. Everything was just fully filled out. And that goes to, my diet of, the carbs and the sugar, and every meal had carb or sugar in it, simple sugar. So it was easy to maintain that type of a figure. Cutting it out by just sticking to the cleanse, and I didn't even do the flaxseed, so I wasn't sure if I'm allergic. So I'm sure if I added that, it would have even been even better. But with just following the cleanse to a T, I was basically able to lose 15 pounds in that time, and that's with no walking, no exercise, no going to the gym, anything like that. It's strictly just the cleanse. I probably dropped 3 or 4 inches, I would say, overall around my waist. So by taking a before picture we started on a Friday, and then took another picture 2 weeks later on that Friday. And seeing the transformation was well beyond enough motivation to keep it going and kind of make a change, a more permanent solution than just doing a cleanse and then saying, let's just go back to how things were.
That's amazing, because that's our whole intention behind this, is to have it feel sustainable for you after the fact. So you're living proof that this is sustainable, and it's not just, like, were you hungry during the 2 weeks that we did the cleanse?
In the beginning, yeah. And I would say that because my schedule, and, Pat can attest this, is that when we work the weddings, you're getting in there, around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you don't leave until 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So you're there for about 9 hours, and some of the times it's busy and things like that. But, being in the wedding environment, you are subject to the food that's in a wedding environment. And when you're at a wedding, it's about having fun and indulging and, going all out. So it's not about saying, I'm going to eat clean and, attest to that. So the only thing that I would recommend for somebody else is really doing the meal prepping. And if you're going to be, away from your kitchen or anything that for a long period of time, would be to take the meals with you, heat them up, do things like that. That's what I would say was probably, the hunger part. And then for me, I guess the other part of the hunger would be the carbs are filling, pastas, breads, things like that, or, they hold you over. And then when you cut and go lean, where it's more meat, sweet potatoes, things like that, so I ended up having to eat either more of them, which happened on the second week. The first week was eating and then hungry and then eating again. So I was actually able to just eat, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I did larger portions when I ate than what I used to do, but they were cleaner, larger portions.
Yeah.
Sure.
You're going to find they're lower calorie, but more nutrient dense foods. So, they're going to go a little bit, you're not going to go as long before getting hungry, but yeah.
Yeah, it's totally normal. When you're eating like the cleaner stuff, you just have to eat more of it. Like, you should see what I eat for dinner every night. It's like a giant bowl of like greens. It's scary, but it fills me up. And, otherwise I'd be hungry. So awesome. Thank you for sharing all that, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have another question for you is, after everything you've shared and everything and how you're feeling, I'm curious where you think you'd be right now, like physically and or emotionally, if you hadn't said yes to yourself and participated in the cleanse. Where would you be right now?
Back to where I was, probably slowly gaining every week, a pound here, a pound there. And, before the cleanse, it was just kind of like, all right, I need to do something, but nothing made it say, all right, today's the day that it's going to start. And then nothing made it say that, all right, it's going to continue for a certain amount of time, to where it's like a race or a challenge type of a deal. So it makes it more motivating than just saying, all right, I'm going to do this on my own and I'm just going to, eat healthy. And then, 2 days later, it's, I'll just snack a little bit here or there, because you're doing it on yourself. There's no one to really hold you accountable, or at least with the group, there's the meetings that you're checking back in. People are asking how you're doing. So there's some accountability there, even though it's not any type of pressure accountability. It still makes you feel like there's something there that you should, have a little bit more strength and stick through. But with that, it's like I said, it was the greatest thing that I possibly did, and I'm so glad that I did it, and the results show for themselves.
That's so amazing. So, yeah, we love, I just want to just reiterate what you just said so people understand that, it's so easy sometimes it's easy to get the information you need, right? There's so much information out there. And you can look up, what to eat, how to eat, all those things. But without that support and accountability and guidance, that's usually the missing piece. And Sandra and I could attest to that, in the coaching that we do, is that's 90% of the equation. is having that support network there. So glad you mentioned that, and we appreciate that.
Well said. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, that you are where you are and you're 3 weeks in and you're feeling better, you're down all that weight. I'm curious, what opportunities do you think might open up for you now?
Probably
lifestyle.
Moving around is definitely a lot easier. Before, I guess you don't really notice it because like I said, it's like a 1 pound here, 1 pound there. So it's like a slow progression of things getting worse and your body, I don't want to say deteriorating, but being in a worse state. And then as it comes off, and 2 weeks is a very short period of time in the scheme of things. So to lose that, amount and to have, my body basically, I want to say it's like less swollen. It's less, I don't know if inflame's the right thing, but it's less swollen. I'm much less puffy than I was before. So, my legs, they don't feel, and that goes back to, my chronic pain is in the lower half of my body. And, I don't feel like there's cement feeling of my legs are really heavy and tight. You can't move them. Stretching's hard, moving's harder, where now it's a lot more limber. And, like I said, I didn't go to the gym. I wasn't working out. I wasn't stretching, doing Pilates or yoga or anything like that. So it's not from doing activities that got me to be more limber. It was purely just from the eating.
It's so amazing. I just love it so much.
Food is medicine, people. Food
It
is medicine.
It is. Oh my gosh. That's why I want people to hear it from Andrew and not from us. It's awesome.
This is great.
I'm curious about the $97 investment. Like, do you think that's fair for for the guidance, the support, what you learned and got out of the cleanse?
Yeah, I mean, it probably should be a lot more, honestly. I mean, I'm only saying this because there's two of you. Even if there was one of you, it's still, I mean, because you have the session, you have the first session, then you have the Zoom meeting, then you have another meeting. So, and then we've done, follow-ups and check-ins and, emails back and forth and food. And if, anybody was to add up just the time involved with all of those, then you come up with an hourly rate for somebody, what you would get paid. It's, it's at least triple that is what it should be. And, somebody would say that would be fair if it was triple that. So to me, it's really kind of very easy. I mean, people pay you $60 for, tablets to lose the 15 pounds in 2 weeks. So, and then it comes right back on. But if you do this and you learn, and like I said, I'm on week 3 and, I don't have to keep paying for tablets. So
That's awesome.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate you saying that, because I think it's so much more valuable hearing it from somebody who's not getting paid to do this cleanse. So I really, that means a lot to Patrick and and I think you're right. And we wanted to make this accessible to more people because it can be a scary thing to embark on. So for people to hear from people like yourself and other people who we're going to interview in the future, it's really helpful, because really we do just want to help more people feel like you're feeling right now. And the investment will go up in the future because we realize that this is worth way more than $97. So just to hear you say that, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
So in closing, we would just like to know maybe what advice or words of wisdom you can offer anybody watching that may be dealing with some of their own health challenges, who may be, wondering, is this right for me?
I mean, honestly, to me, is if you're eating something and it's like unhealthy and you're doing it multiple times a day, and then it turns into multiple times a week, and it's week after week after week, it's probably a program to do for you. And I know in the beginning that I said like this was the easiest thing, but this is easier than getting, spinal surgery or something like that. Like that's what I'm comparing it against. I'm not comparing this against, something else. So, but it's easy in terms that if you're really, interested in seeing that you want to get results. So if you actually want the results, it's a really easy way to do it. So I would just say honestly that if you're interested in doing it, it's definitely worth doing. So I'm really happy I did it. And I, like I said, was eating 2 pints of Ben and Jerry's every night, and that's at least 5 to 6 nights a week. And that was week in, week out. Spaghetti, breads, sandwiches, sugars, candies, I mean, anything you can think of that's simple carbs, you know, simple sugars was what I was doing. So if I was able to cut it, I mean, pretty much anybody's kind of really able to do it. So, and like I said, I was able to do this, and my diet, like I said, just for my allergies, is so limited. So it would make it even easier for somebody else who can eat, you know, all the foods that I can't.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is really powerful.
amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Well, I'm gonna stop recording.
Okay.
But hang on just a second after. So we'll say bye to everybody who's watching this, and hope this was helpful for you to get a little glimpse into what we're offering with this cleanse and why we're really passionate about sharing it with more people. Anything else, Patrick?
No, I think that's it. I think we covered everything. Andrew, thank you again. And yeah, we look forward to hopefully getting more results for more people.
Yeah.
And bringing that value as many people as we can. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
All right. See you all